I'm Jessica, 28. I stood in the doorway of the house I bought for my parents, watching as they walked away, my mom, dad, sister Lily, her husband Ethan, and their two kids, all in tears. The silence that followed hit me like a wall. Years of being ignored, used, and betrayed came crashing down all at once. How did things end up like this? Growing up, I always felt like I didn't belong in my own family. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, seemed to live and breathe for my older sister, Lily. When she was 22 and finally moved out to start her own life, I honestly thought maybe things would change. Instead, I just became the family maid. I was only 14, but my days were nothing but endless chores. No matter how hard I tried, my mom always found something wrong. School didn't matter much to them, and my friends slowly drifted away because I was always stuck at home cleaning, cooking, or doing laundry. I still remember one night after a long day at school. I walked in exhausted, hoping to rest for a minute. Instead, my mom started yelling because I hadn't made the bed. "You're not a little girl anymore, Jessica. Start acting like an adult," she snapped. Lying in bed later that night, I realized I was wishing for something that would never come: real love and understanding from my parents. When I turned 16, Lily came home with the big news. She was engaged to Ethan, and just like that, all the attention was back on her again. My parents were overjoyed, throwing money at every detail of the wedding: designer dresses, a fancy venue, top-tier caterers, you name it. I watched quietly from the background, stuck in the kitchen cooking while everyone else celebrated her perfect life. 2 years later, when I got 3 college acceptance letters, I was over the moon. But my happiness didn't last long. "We spent all our savings on your sister's wedding," my mom said flatly when I showed her the letters. "There's nothing left for college." My heart sank. I reminded her they paid for Lily's college, but she just shrugged and said they saw more potential in her. I felt crushed, desperate, and lost. I went to my grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Harris, the only people who had ever truly cared for me. When I told them what happened, my grandfather gently held my hand and said, "Sweetheart, we've been saving for your education since the day you were born." I broke down crying. Thanks to them, I finally got to chase my dream. I studied financial analysis, determined to make something of myself. College was a fresh start, a clean slate. I threw myself into my studies and quickly began to shine. My professors respected me, and I landed internships at some of the best financial firms in the country. I'll never forget what my supervisor at Goldman Sachs told me one day: "Jessica, you got a natural gift for this." For the first time in my life, someone actually believed in me. Meanwhile, Lily's perfect world was falling apart. Her marketing career wasn't going anywhere, and Ethan couldn't seem to keep a job. They constantly begged my parents for money, and my parents, being as soft as ever, always gave in. Every time I heard about it, it made me sick. The same people who told me I wasn't worth investing in were bending over backward for Lily yet again. During my senior year, I went to visit my grandparents and immediately sensed something was off. They looked worried and tired. When I pressed them, they finally told me the truth. My parents had come asking for their inheritance early because they were drowning in debt. Out of love and guilt, my grandparents had given them almost all their savings. I was furious. After everything my parents had done to me, they were now taking advantage of the only people who had ever truly cared for me. When I graduated, I landed a fantastic job at a leading financial company. I worked hard, saved every penny, and eventually bought a beautiful house, not for myself, but for my parents. It was my way of trying to heal old wounds, to finally have a family again. For a while, it seemed to work. They acted grateful, and things between us started to feel almost normal. But that peace didn't last. They decided to throw a housewarming party without even inviting me. When I found out, I was humiliated. Then I discovered they were telling everyone that Lily had helped pay for the house. That was the last straw. I showed up and confronted them in front of everyone. My mother yelled, "You can't do this, Jessica. We're your parents." But I was done being guilt-tripped. I pulled out the ownership papers and calmly told them, "This is my house." The room went silent. My family looked at me like I was a villain, but I didn't care anymore. My parents left crying, and I stood there, alone, but finally free. I blocked their numbers, deleted them from my social media, and later sold the house. The money went into my account, and with it came peace. I promised myself one thing that day: when I have children of my own, I'll love them the way my grandparents loved me, unconditionally, without limits, and without conditions.